Hi, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of joyofbaking.com. Today we're going to make pumpkin cream cheese muffins, and this is what they look like. As you can see, there's a delicious and it's moist muffin, and then inside we're going to have a lovely cream cheese filling. So the first thing you will need to do is to preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 180 degrees Celsius, and then you will need a 12-cup muffin tin like this. And you can either butter the inside of your muffin cups, or I'm just going to spray it with one of these non-stick sprays. And then what I find when you're using the non-stick sprays, because you tend to get the some of the spray on the top of the pan, I just take a towel, paper towel or a cloth, and just wipe that off, because if you don't, it tends to burn, or not burn, it kind of wrecks your pan in the oven. So just do that little step. So the first thing we are going to do is make our cream cheese filling. So I'm just going to use a hand mixer for this. You could just do it in if you have a stand mixer. And you will need 8 ounces, which is 225 grams of cream cheese. Have it at room temperature. I'm using a full fat cream cheese here. And then what I'm going to do is just beat this until it gets nice and smooth. Okay, and then I'm going to add 1/3 cup, 65 grams of granulated white sugar, along with 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of pure vanilla extract. I'm just going to beat that in. And then lastly, I'm going to add 1 large egg. That would be 55 grams out of the shell, and have your egg at room temperature. Just going to scrape this down here. And I'm just going to beat until everything's all mixed together. Yeah, that looks good. I mean, a few lumps are okay, but basically you want it nice and smooth. You want to make sure, the reason I don't do this in the food processor is you don't want to over process it and make it really thin. You want it, as you can see, quite thick like this. So now I'm just going to clean up, and when I come back we will start our muffin batter. Okay, now we're ready to make our muffin batter. If you have an electric stand mixer like I have, use your paddle attachment, or you could just use your hand mixer, or really you could just large bowl with a wooden spoon. This is really easy to make. It's kind of like a dump and stir. So first we're going to dump all of our dry ingredients. So you will need 1.5 cups, which is 195 grams of all-purpose flour. You may know that as plain flour. 1 cup, 200 grams of granulated white sugar. And then, of course, with pumpkin, you usually use some spices to kind of spice it up. So we will need 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of baking powder, 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of baking soda, 1/2 teaspoon, 2 grams of salt. And then for the spices, I've used 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, 1/2 teaspoon of ground ginger, and 1/4 teaspoon of ground cloves. Of course, you can adjust those seasonings, or those spices, I should say, to your own personal preference. So what I'm just going to do is mix these together. Simple enough. And then for our wet ingredients, you will need 1 teaspoon, 4 grams of pure vanilla extract, 1/2 cup, 113 grams of butter. I like to use unsalted. You could use salted. And what you want to do is have it at room temperature, actually quite soft. As you can see, I can really just press my finger. And I like to cut it into small pieces, because then it beats in much easier than if you have like a large block. So put that in. And then 2 large eggs, again, have those at room temperature. That would be 110 grams by weight. And then, of course, pumpkin muffins. We need pumpkin. So you will need 3/4 cup, which is 170 grams of pure pumpkin puree. I'm just using store-bought in a can. You don't want the type that has the spices already added. And Now, if you wanted to make your own, which you can, just go to the Joy Baking website under this recipe, and in the head note, I will tell you how to make your pumpkin puree right from scratch, which you can do. It's not that hard. So now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to beat it on medium speed just until everything's mixed together and the batter's nice and smooth and kind of satiny. This will not take very long. I'd say maybe 30 to 60 seconds on medium speed. Okay, that did not take very long. Kind of a great batter to make. So, smell all those nice spices. Now, so this is what you're looking for. It's nice and smooth, satiny. Just a quick stir around the sides, a little flour there. And now what you want to do is just evenly divide your batter between all the muffin cups. Try to get the same amount in each one. The best way I find, you can use 2 spoons, but the fast way is ice cream scoop. Okay, so there we go. So now what you want to do, I just take a spoon and just kind of level them out. And then what we want to do is make it like a little bit of a well in the center of each one. So I just use a spoon and just kind of, so there's an indentation in the center of each one. And that's where we'll put the cream cheese. So just like a little well. Let's do that. Okay, so that's done. And then we got our cream cheese filling, which we're going to put into the center. So I find about around 2 tablespoons again. I use my little ice cream scoop, makes it easy. And then just put it right in the center. And then I just kind of push it down a little to make sure there's no air gap and it's right down in there. And just go around and do that. Okay, and now, I don't tend to do this, but if you wanted to, you could put some, sprinkle some mini chocolate chips on the top where the cream cheese is, or you could even do some chopped pumpkin seeds if you're so inclined. So now, we're going to bake them probably around 20 minutes. I would check them, like as always, because everybody's oven's a little different. I would check them a couple minutes before that. And what you want to do, the cream cheese filling will be set. And then if you put a toothpick into the muffin part, it will come out clean. Okay, our muffins are ready. Don't they look gorgeous? You can see the cream cheese filling is set, and then if you insert a toothpick into the muffin part, it will come out clean. So now just put your muffin pan on a wire rack and then let them cool. They're a little soft right now, so I would say about probably 10-15 minutes before you take them out of the pan. And when we come back, we will try one. Okay, so when I take my muffins out of the pan, I just use a little offset spatula. You could just use a knife as well, and then just gently pick them up and let them finish cooling on a wire rack, and then we will try one. They're still a little warm. I'll just cut this in half, maybe this way. Oh, as you can see, the beautiful muffin, and then I like how the cream cheese kind of sinks down in. There's also a recipe for a Black Bottom cupcake, which is very similar to this, but instead of a pumpkin batter, we're using a chocolate cake. So go to the Joy Baking site and try that if you like these. So, oh. Pretty good. You got a really moist muffin that's very flavorful. You get the pumpkin, and then of course all those spices really add a lot of flavor. And then of course a cream cheese batter, kind of tangy. It kind of offsets it's just perfect. You know, it's a great pumpkin dessert for the fall. If you want something a little different, try these. And until next time, I'm Stephanie Jaworski of JoeyBaking.com.